What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about the Xbox news we got today that really just sets up a bigger Thursday, really, right? This big event that I think a lot of people are going to be interested in hearing, and I'm excited for it. But, we did talk about, well, do you want to do it earlier in the week because the Xbox community is kind of burning itself down right now, and making everybody wait till Thursday is, a little bit more. But you do have to understand, we have said this, these kind of things, even if it is just a podcast, and we'll go over the news in just a second, but these things take time, take a lot of time, and the fact that they probably had to throw this together in about a 2-week span, when it really should probably take more, probably would take them a month plus to do something like this. They're doing it in like 2 weeks. I imagine, there's probably people working overtime, right? Just to even put on this event, and it's not even necessarily what everybody thought they would do. So, what are we getting? Well, this Thursday, we have the official Xbox podcast, which will be Thursday at 12 p.m. Pacific time, 3 p.m. Eastern. It's actually 1 p.m. for me. Hearing from Phil Spencer, Sarah Bond, and Matt Booty as they share updates on the Xbox business. So, we have forced their hand, not necessarily we, but definitely the internet and the rumors and all that kind of jazz. It's going to be a big one. Now, podcast. Let me say a few things kind of about that. I don't mind it. I think we've been very conditioned to do the state of plays for PlayStation or developer directs, right? Or just showcases in general. We have been doing that for a long, long time. So to pivot and do a podcast, I actually would say, I mentioned the workload and putting something like this together. I actually think this would probably be the thing to reduce it, right? They probably could have done a slideshow video, what you would imagine, they do for these developer directs, right? They probably could put something like that together, but it would take a lot of work. It might even take studios themselves doing work that they didn't really have to do, right? Like, if they do say a Hi-Fi Rush thing and they announce that on the podcast, they can say that on Thursday with nothing else. They don't need to show like a trailer that you would have to show if you did like a developer direct, right? So I actually do understand this generally. Now, why am I bringing it up? On a positive end, there's that. You can say a lot of things on Thursday that you don't have to back up with like showing people to their faces. The thing that I am worried about, okay, this casual kind of, as podcasts can be, right? Casual environment. Now, maybe it puts some other Xbox podcasts out of business by doing something like this, considering the official Xbox podcast. But no, all jokes aside, I would be worried about dancing around the issue. And this is what I'd be actually pretty scared about. The one thing you do get with a developer direct, state of play, etc., scripts. Now, look, I'm not a big script guy. I don't do scripts at all. And that actually has been somewhat of a weakness, though, so you could ask based off some people. It's a pro-con thing, right? It's more laid back. They're able to kind of like wheel and deal. They can say whatever they want. I'm sure they have some restrictions, right? But they are a little bit looser, you would imagine, or more loose. But the other side of things, you might have somebody like Phil specifically throwing around the whole case-by-case basis thing again, right? And I mean, would that happen regardless? Probably. That is just what I'm worried about. And this is what, we talked about this even going back last week when all this stuff was starting to pick up. I get it. Like, things are in flux and you don't know, maybe, like, Pentiment. The rumor is Pentiment and Hi-Fi Rush, right? Those are first. Sea of Thieves would be later on in the year. That's the initial thing. And that seems to be backed up by a lot of people. I just don't want them to come out there and say, well, do we have anything for you on Halo? No. Do we have anything for you on Gears? No, we're not going to be specific. You could have also not been specific in a direct as well. So in that way, it doesn't really matter the format. To me, my issue with no matter what they do, my hope is that they're direct. And my fear is that they won't be direct. Does that make sense? So that's kind of where I'm at right now, is I just hope that they give specifics. I understand that, hey, games that are coming out 2-3 years from now, right? The next Halo game. Now, the next Halo game, there have been job postings found that seem to indicate it's coming to more than just Xbox and PC, right? Definitely sounds like that thing's coming to PlayStation. I don't need an answer on that, but I do think you have to be specific when talking about what's going on. You can't dance around it. Because here's the thing. Why? Why do you have to be specific? Because as has already been proven. Now, I like rumors and leaks, but it's already been proven people can't really handle it to begin with, right? Like, all of a sudden you have the Jez Cordons, the Jeff Grubbs, the Tom Moore, like all these people. They all say stuff. Half of them backpedal, and it just lets the internet burn, right? It's like people, whether it's them that can't handle it or the people on Twitter that can't handle it or YouTube as well, right? Doesn't matter, though. Over the last week and a half, we have found out the collective gaming sphere can't really handle these, overall, these discussions. We need answers from Xbox. So if they were to come out and not give answers, all that's going to do is do more confusion. All that's going to do is, maybe not immediately, but a week, a month, 2 months, 3 months, whatever, after this event, you might have another rumor of throw out your game, right? Like State of Decay 3. And if they don't mention State of Decay 3, then 2 months later, you could have a Jez Corden coming out talking about it, and it freaks everybody out again. And it's like, well, how do you avoid that? Well, the leaking could stop. But again, I mean, I got to be fair. Like, I like rumors and leaks. Like, it's a thing of my channel. I cover them when they're out there. It's not the only thing I cover, but it's one of them, right? So I don't mind them. But you might have the internet freaking out, say, over like a State of Decay 3 thing. And it's like, okay, well, how do you avoid that? Well, yeah, you could stop the rumors altogether. Or you could be pretty specific on Thursday, and then that way, if anything happens, you can always kind of default and go back to what they say. If it's like a specific example, right, or something you can compare to. That is the best way of doing it. You got to give a good foundation of kind of knowledge and what's coming immediately, but also kind of what is the plan long term? What are some of the qualifications for these type of things? And by the way, they do say just like Xbox business. It's not... And I have seen this on Twitter. It may not be just what's happened the last week and a half. This would probably be the time to talk about Activision Blizzard. Is COD, because the rumors are COD is not coming to Game Pass, which that would be, that'd be something big. Honestly, I was kind of relying on that happening because I don't really want to buy, the last 10 CODs, and I was going to use it maybe for content purposes. So that wouldn't be ideal, but if they're going to do that, this is the time you say it. If you're trying to get, now again, do you name drop stuff? I don't know. Like, do I expect them to come out there and say, hey, we're looking at the Transformers games, right? Like War for Cybertron, all that stuff. I don't really think so. I'd love it. I'd love it if they gave specifics, right? But this would also be a time for that. For as much as we're talking about the future of Xbox first party or third party, or are they not making consoles anymore, which the rumors are they're still going to make consoles, right? I don't know if they even have to get that specific on that topic, but you have that. But you also do have another elephant in the room, which is, okay, well, there's a lot of games on like you're bringing in Crash, you're bringing in Spyro, are those going to be on Game Pass? StarCraft, actually, I think maybe even Sarah Bond specifically talked StarCraft up specifically, so it's like, okay, I don't need to know about a StarCraft 3 or anything, but like, can we get StarCraft on Game Pass? Like, how is this going to work? They got to answer quite a few questions, and not just one topic or another. They actually have kind of two big topics that they got to get through. And again, the more specific, the better. I don't expect it, across the entire board, every single, case-by-case thing, but I do hope that overall we get some answers. And again, that way when future leaks and rumors happen, you can at least say, well, back on February, whatever it is, 15th, Phil Spencer said this. So this would indicate that, and maybe that makes the leak false. So, you know what I mean? Like, you can kind of follow it backwards. And I think in order to do that, you need some solid foundation this Thursday. So that's just what I hope we get. Just because the podcast doesn't also mean they have to go all like, willy-nilly, like they're not really caring about a script. Technically, they could write some things down. They could follow, a very, very specific and closely monitored, kind of thing. That might happen. So let me know what you guys think. I don't know right away, but I'll definitely be listening. We'll definitely make a video as soon after as humanly possible, okay? So I will have a video on it for sure. Let me know what you think. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed, bell icon turned on. I hope to see you all on the next one.